Hello, we are on YouTube. Got a lot of episodes on Rumble, but this is our first introduction to YouTube. Um, we're live. It looks like we're live. How you guys doing? My name is Daris D. McKinney. This is Individual Perspective Podcast, and we're live. We're live on YouTube. It's our introduction, so I want to make sure that I introduce myself to you guys and then give you guys my concept of individual perspective. I think most people's perspective is from their peers, their parents, their family, friends, social apparatus that's around them, or you may say society. And I think it's maybe good if it's harnessed well, or it's kind of somewhat, I could say, structured well. It could be a good way to have a good perspective. It may be solid from foundation, but most of us, that's not going to be the case. You're going to need to almost delete yourself in your mindset and recreate who you are and give yourself an individuality. And the only way you can really give yourself an individuality, you will have to have an individual perspective. And what is an individual perspective? It's a perspective that is relentless vetting. You vet yourself, you vet your peers, you vet your mama, you vet your daddy, you vet your favorite movie star, your favorite singer, your favorite philosophical person, politician, or anything. You're a relentless vetter, you know what I mean, before you allow something to take shape and hold inside your head. And that's what an individual perspective is. It's really there to make sure that when you open your mouth and you have an opinion on something, when you communicate something, it can live from the test of time. And you don't have to ever come back and say, oh, I gotta retract that podcast that I did, or that statement that I did, or that posting that I did, because I'm with older, wiser thought process, and I may not have, what I said a long time ago may not stand up to the test of time and scrutiny. I believe that's pretty ignorant. Once you get past ninth grade, you could set a solid foundation for whatever comes out your mouth, whatever projection that you have going forward. And individual perspective trains you how to make sure that you're not saying something that you wouldn't want to regret later. You would say something that pretty much is it's who you are, and it's your truth is an objective truth, so that's why I always say individual perspective is when your truth is the objective truth. Okay. I'm kind of nervous because this is kind of YouTube. Now, if you go to Rumble and you see my page, you'll know that I've talked a lot already. I've done a lot of hundreds of hours of podcasts and stuff like that. And I avoided YouTube because I know you have to watch how you communicate here, and you have to watch how you project yourself on these platforms, because everybody's pretty I'm about to say it. Everybody's pretty cowardly about being demonetized. So when you're on YouTube, you're kind of deciding that you're going to conform to their rules. And sorry about the buffering. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking it will adjust because there's plenty of bandwidth coming in. But anyway, and you're deciding that you're going to adjust to YouTube's parameters of streaming on a platform, pretty much. And I'm officially, of course, the things that I have on Rumble is very controversial, and some of the things I say is very hardcore. So I don't even know if I can even bring some of those episodes over to YouTube and not be flagged. So I told myself, why don't you do an introduce yourself, test it out, test out the stream, see how everything is going and everything like that, and give the concept of individual perspective podcast and let you guys know who I am and what we're going to be communicating. I do politics, I do social dynamics. In addition to that, I will be doing panels and conversations of just life and just giving a really blunt analysis to what my perspective is, okay? And I really believe that my perspective holds up to scrutiny. And I am a filmmaker, and I'm about to release about 5 films before the end of this year. Pushing to release about 3 of them this month. And we'll talk about that somewhere down the road or maybe on another channel, so but this channel is to kind of give my perspective on politics and everything like that. And like I said, if you go to Rumble, the links are at the bottom in the description. If you go to Rumble and everything, you'll see that I've pretty much communicated a lot, and I have a lot of philosophy to how I perceived everything that's going on. And I've covered pretty much some heavy some great topics and everything. So when you get over there, you look at the episode, just click on the link and then you'll see all the different episodes and you can really just pick your poison and stuff, but additional to that, I start off a little rough because I've been doing podcasts for about, I'll say from 2008, 2009, but like really doing it where I could say that I've done some good work. I'll say 2015 would be really hardcore. You could probably go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, look up Individual Perspective, you'll hear some of my old episodes. Podcast is an audio forum, but the pompous and arrogance and the brattiness of our society to want video makes us where we have to go into a video presentation of what we're doing. So that's what we're here to do, and we're here to make sure that we give a good product to you guys. I do my graphics and everything and design my intros and all that crazy stuff. I do it because I'm a filmmaker, so I could kind of put something together pretty entertaining and good perspective and good presentation to you guys, so you can always count on me to do that. But I'm kind of watching my stream because looks like I'm a little juddery here. I'm trying to figure it out, but it looks good. I don't mind it. I'm just an introduction, and then I'm gonna come in and do maybe an episode today on a couple things that's going on and everything. I do want to keep an objective analysis, so maybe you guys will see that some of my politics may seem that I lean a little right or pro-Trump and everything, and but I don't take away the Kamala's actual perspective. I do have a point of view on her, which you will see in my other podcasts, but I would like for people to come in, go into the chat, and then kind of communicate to me what your point of view is, and then I can read your chat so I can ask your questions, and I can actually give my opinion to how you may feel about the political race and everything. My point of view is very logical, and I say one of the worst things about me, and to my own detriment, I am extremely objective. I make sure I take myself out the equation. I'm not very emotional about things and stuff in order for me to give a great response to things. Maybe I'll get a little animated by something, but it's all based in a solid foundation. I won't be screaming and yelling and stuff, and then I don't have conscious of what I'm saying. And if I would like what I said 10 days, 2 years, 10 years from now, I will. I'm pretty confident in that. So Individual Perspective Podcast is what we do here. My name is Daris D. McKinney, and I really wanted to just start my YouTube, and you understand when I get started on this that I'll do a lot of hours, but I wanted to just kind of come on here to kind of check out YouTube and see how it works for me, and in additional to that, test it out, see how it looks into the stream. I'm looking at it as we speak right now, a little juddery. I don't like it, but I'm very anal about that stuff because I like to give a presentation that lasts forever. So I always kind of want to watch how the stream is going. And for some reason, it's throttling pretty low. I don't know why, but maybe I got something on that I'm not supposed to have on. But that's okay. We'll get it. We'll get to it. We'll get it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, so that's what individual perspective is. I really watch a lot of podcasts, people for a while now, and I see how they're doing their podcasts. I do have, how would he say, I do have qualms with how people do things because they level themselves up and they kind of give a powerful following and everything like that. But what's the point of it if you don't got any influence? If you got some very powerful people like Elon Musk. He's given like millions of dollars to Charlie Kirk. And I'm like listening to Charlie Kirk on a week-to-week basis just to see where his TPUSA apparatus is. And I'm like, dude, you've been having hundreds of millions of dollars to get out the vote, do ballot harvesting and all that stuff on the behalf of the outcome that Trump supporters want. You know what I mean? And his response is pretty much what the news give you and what the various of different polling systems do out there and everything like that. And it's like, dude, you got to have more data than that. You got to have more of a ground game than that. Like, you don't got people in Michigan. You don't got people in Pennsylvania. You don't got people in Wisconsin. You don't got people in, what's another one? Nevada, you know what I mean? To guarantee those wins and everything. He's doing good in Arizona, but Arizona is where TPUSA base is. So you will see that most likely will give some positive outcome towards him helping the possibility of electing President Trump and everything. But it is ridiculous, that he's kind of having it's like, oh, you guys need to go out and you guys need to vote and you guys need to register to vote and you need to ballot harvest. No, we ain't got to do nothing. You got millions of dollars that you were supposed to have people out there doing that. You don't have to hype up the Trump supporters. They're already they're solid. They always been solid. You know who our problem is? People in Wisconsin that's powered by Paul Ryan to clock block Trump. You know what I'm saying? To throw a monkey wrench in the votes with all these people, Republicans against Trump and veterans against Trump. You know who those people are? Those are Paul Ryan thinkers. Those are John McCain thinkers. You got the most poison retards out there with the point of view of those people echoing in the Republican Party, and you got about a 20% Republican Party that's self-sabotage, like suicide bombers walking into a room to just blow it up, so you got that opposition, and you need to be able to articulate. Like I even when a lot of people loved how JD Vance did in the vice president debate, and he carried himself well, and I think he's a smart man and everything like that. But his ducking and dodging, like questions that all Republicans should know how to communicate. You know, it's like if you guys decide to cower to the question of Donald Trump 3 marriages, you're going to lose the narrative. If you guys cower to a cool boys having a raunchy conversation off the air, off comment, with a hot mic inside of a Hollywood entertainment van, where it was a conversation about power and money and celebrity and the different things that women would allow men to do just to be around the power and apparatus. Not that he's doing it. He's saying, hey, if you know, so I don't want to go through that. We'll do that on the podcast. But if you duck and dodge that question, or a liberal or media apparatus saying, well, how do you explain his Hollywood entertainment Hollywood video with him talking about grabbing a woman by the, and you we're not going to talk about the past. If you do that, you lose the narrative. You got to know how to communicate it. It's common sense how you communicate about that. And I'll talk about it more on the podcast. On my other episodes, I walk through some of this stuff. But I'll do an episode maybe today where I just kind of talk about these talking points, because even like they're not spending the same budget that it took to market, or actually do the production, do everything for Avatar and the marketing. They're spending $600 million on Project 2025 narrative. How are y'all ducking this? If they're spending $600 million to interject that Project 2025 is a real substantial thing and it's a fantasy. It is garbage, sabotaging, self-sabotaging stuff coming from a bunch of knucklehead Republicans that got no power and no influence, but they got enough like power from people like McCain and Paul Ryan and people that's the old establishment Republicans. They got enough power that they still even exist, and they're still even in some kind of conversation. You got Charlie Kirk, you got Dan Bongino, you have Megyn Kelly, you have all these Republicans talking about being anti-abortion, and you don't got no power to be anti-abortion. If you're going to be anti-abortion, you better make sure that it's favorable to Trump. So you got to go to him, say, hey, Trump, what is your views on abortion? He'll say, hey, it looks reasonable to have a 15-week period for it, because that's what it seems like everybody's kind of voting for at the state ballots and everything. So it seems like we're going to have to adjust to what the people want, and about a 15-week period is what people want. You know what I mean? So I don't care if you want no abortion or you pro-life, you're a loser. You have lost this narrative since 2012. You can't have the power. Yo, Christians have given up. They don't even care about being pro-life. You got a bunch of people out here touting being pro-life, but you got Christians out here going against being pro-life. They're pro-abortion. So how do you be a Catholic and be for abortion? But they are. So that means you have to adjust. You're the loser. The war is and history is told by the winner. So if you're losing that narrative, don't fight it. If you don't know how to win it, don't fight it. Because it's all you're doing is like stabbing yourself. You're kind of totally destroying yourself for a principle, and that's maybe good. But is that principle? Are you coming out and saying, "Hey guys, I don't care if this country goes to crap. I don't care if it gets destroyed today. I'm taking this stance on it. Because I want to hear every single time any of you pro-life people advocate to be pro-life when you don't even know how to win the narrative and be pro-life. I think you can, but what I'm seeing, y'all spending hundreds and millions of dollars and you're losing abortion argument. And it's the stupidest thing in the world to lose. And I take it, I'm like, I always tell women, like, come on, who y'all think y'all help getting abortions? Who you think you help doing that? Men. We love when you get abortion, so we don't have to stay with you. When we know that your mindset is like that, we're out. And if you give us an early parole by getting abortions, look, come on. I know that sounds harsh, but that's the game. That's the actual society we have. We don't really have where women would do the most common sense and sit down with a man and say, I'm pregnant, but let's fight this together and let's build a life for both of us together. Let's fight through the craziness of society, make a home for each other, and then let's just kind of make this work and raise this kid. And let's create a family. Let's create something that's just natural to us and it's purposeful for us to do. They don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? They want to be hot pants and city girls and all that crazy stuff. So Cole, let them do it. And it's like abortion does guys more of a favor than it does women. Women, they get trauma, they get psychological, like remembrance and references of it and stuff like that. Men, it lets us off the hook. We out. Because most men, women always talk about the anomaly of these deadbeat guys that get women pregnant and then they just leave and the woman got to raise them on her own. Those are very rare anomalies. Most men want to be in a relationship with the woman. They gotta step up now. So now they gotta go get 2 jobs and try to make this work. It's innately in us to do that. I always say that men have the Alexander syndrome. We have greatness in us. We have conquering in us. We have taking over and mastering things. We have that innately in us. I call it the Alexander syndrome. It's in every man. I don't care if you think he's a simp, you think he's a loser, you think he's a weak person, you think he's passive, you think he's a beta. You know what I'm saying? No matter if he's beta, male, whatever, one thing all men have in common is the Alexander syndrome. We conquer. We achieve. It's in every man. So a woman technically can't go wrong by picking any man. I don't care who he is. You pick any man, you can get that. What makes terrible situations is that union, and when people come into that union, sitting at a dinner table, and I always say have the worst date on the first date. That's what I say. Put it all out there. You know what I mean? Hey, I need this. This how you gotta be. I don't care what you do in your life. If you want to pay the bills, if you want to be the breadwinner, then we keep going it, and you can keep doing what you're doing as an independent woman and all that stuff like that. And I don't want to hear no stuff. Okay? But if you want me to take care of everything, if you want me to lead, then you take whatever you're doing and you make sure that it works for my plan. If you don't do that, you're sabotaging yourself. You're sabotaging what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. And the faster you come on to my system, the faster you sitting back, flying around the country, doing whatever you want to do and having a good life, under my guise, but under my guide and my rules and stuff. But at the same time, you're living a great life and you're happy. You don't have to worry about the stress and the toughness and the war of life. I'll do that. But if that's the problem with 90% of all relationships, no matter if marriages or relationships with people, is that they don't transition that. And you need to find out what your man's goals are and what he's trying to accomplish and everything like that, and do whatever you possibly can to have help him execute on that. Of course, you want to have a timeline, so you want to ask, hey, what's the timeline on this? And if you give everything you got to it, then trust me, most of the time, most probable outcome will be that he would achieve. But most men would never have that interaction. They would never have that kind of union where a woman doing what she's doing, achieving, doing what she's doing in her life, and then whatever a man trying to accomplish in his life to better himself, to level himself up, that a woman will put everything of her existence into that man. That's not going to happen. So that's why you have majority people very separate, and they're kind of losing wars and losing fights with society, economics, all that stuff that it's easily for them to win when you have two people focusing and fighting together, and with more people with the same mindset. Oh, dude, it's magic. So that's where all the flaws come from. That's where all the drama and the struggles comes from. Is too many people with too many agendas. And I have, in my life, I have found that, and I found this out in the hard way, in a way, but I found out that you can't have a bunch of people with competing interests. Everybody's got to be doing what you need them to do. Otherwise, it's people messing with time, they messing with momentum, they messing with energy and focus and total dominance in what you're trying to get accomplished, and with all of you trying to get accomplished. If you're trying to get something accomplished in agreements together, but you don't agree with each other because I got my life, I got my this, my family, I got my this over here, and I got this and I this, and it's just too many competing interests, because there's gonna be times where everything needs to be honed to that outcome. And if you gotta have a bunch of competing interests, that ain't good. It's like a person doing a film or movie contract. So a bunch of people own the movie, and then you go into a meeting with Netflix, and Netflix like the movie and they want to purchase it, but now you don't got enough percentage ownership, you don't got enough power to yourself to make the decision right then and there, because that's what it takes when you're dealing with great moments. Decisive decision making needs to be had. And if you got too many people that's got their hands in the cookie jar already, and it takes away your power to actually make a great decision, then the Netflix will be like, okay, wow, if you got to go get approval by 3 or 5 people, 10 people, then the deal's off the table, because that's too much drama. You know what I mean? So in that situation, I'm using that as an example, but that's what happens in the household and relationships and partnership and all that kind of stuff. It's too many competing interests. You before you go forward in anything, you need to decide whose path you're following, who's taking the leadership approach of this. And sometimes you need to vet each other. You need to sit at the table and do the Socratic method, Socrates' way of talking and going through process of elimination. Whoever got the better solid foundation they have the answers to pretty much all the different things that may pop up. You have to follow that person's lead. And sometimes you got to be in a room to have that meeting with each other and talk that out. That's for people that think their IQ is so high where they probably need to be put into place. So you use the Socratic method to help that out. Yeah, I know. I'm rambling about this, and but I just wanted to do a good introduction, and plus I wanted to give you guys an example of what my mindset is. My mindset is very neutral to whatever makes society and human beings better and people better and what they're trying to do. I do feel like individually, in order for you to be happy individually and have a happy life, you're gonna need to know how to represent yourself and know where you play in the factor of things, and don't get in the way of things that are maybe bigger than you. You might be a good assistant to something. You might be a good partner to something, then you might be a great leader to something. So in order to know that, you're going to have an individual perspective. And most people don't want to interact with a person to where they got to tell them about themselves. Like, it's your life. You've been through things. You experience different interactions. You should kind of know when you make bad decisions and when you make good decisions, and how many of your decisions were bad decisions and how many decisions were your good decisions. All your decisions that you did from 10 to 20 years ago to now, how did that all evaluate, and what did it total up to, and what's the bigger picture of it? And business wide, if you had to be totally rude and blunt to yourself and really chastise yourself, what are you criticizing yourself about? And is the pros better than the cons? You get what I'm saying? Or is the cons more than the pros, And you got to vet yourself like that. And if you do that, you don't walk into meetings, you don't walk into partnership, you don't walk into interactions with people where people are making you aware of your own failures and your own way of flaws and different things, a way of thinking that may need to be corrected. You have already done that because you vetted yourself. Gotta vet yourself. That's what the individual perspective. Don't leave the house as a legend in your own mind. It's irrelevant to life. You want to be strong. You want to be confident. You want to know it is what it is, and what it is pretty damn livable. I can live with it. You ought to be, and that's what the individual perspective is. So yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself to you guys. I'm trying to look at the system of this podcast. I guess I gotta log in to see you guys and see what kind of interactions I'm having here. Cause they got my live chat here. Okay, okay. You guys ain't going to the live chat and just chatting it up, and give a little comment. Let me know that when you guys are watching, I'm alive and I'm looking at the views on it. Yeah, I guess I'm not reaching too many people yet. So hello. Hitting the live chat up, y'all. Okay. Okay, so I'm always kind of trying to look at everything. It looks like I got a good stream going on here, and it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I'm wondering, do you gotta build up your views and people just don't pop on? People don't just see you live and everything? But okay, I understand. But we'll keep going. Like I said, guys, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Daris D. McKinney. This is Individual Perspective Podcast. And I'm gonna be coming back on here to do another episode today. Hopefully you guys look at this video. You just go into the chat and let me know how you feel about everything. And I really want to be here to entertain you, but at the same time give you some good commentary about the different things that we all are kind of going on. This is election year, and that's heavy duty. You got hundreds of podcasts on here, and it's good people doing good work. You need Charlie Kirk, Anton Daniels at antondaniels.com, was Saint in the Center, Marquette Burton, I think it's Marquette Devon Burton, Patrick Bet David, Dan Bongino. I think you got to go to Rumble in order to watch him. I will say Megan Kelly because I watch her a lot. Candace Owens. Find myself watching a lot of Piers Morgan now. And I don't watch it, but it'll get across the clip and I watch it through because he's kind of doing some good content. Chris Cuomo is kind of pushing himself up in the algorithm. I guess Shannon Sharp, he kind of trolling us all. You know what I mean? Um, what's the gentleman? Gentleman with the top hat. What's his name? I did an episode of him talking to a actual a therapist. That was very interesting. The therapist that came in and it was like, "Hey, you're supposed to be giving advice to people right now. You're supposed to make yourself look really, you know, pretty presentable, but you're looking a little messy right now. You know, what's his name to me? I'm trying to go back and look at it. Yeah, Cam Newton. So Cam Newton. Um, hmm. I mean, it's a big fight right now for like the point of view on things because you got, the liberals and stuff like that. And I'm not being assaulting to liberals, but I think Democrats will call themselves liberals and progressives and stuff like that. And it's a mindset that is so, yes, I think even when in my hard times, you would hope that you um are for a collective like better outcome for everybody, but I know that it's not like that for most people. Most people think like if they support the policies of Democrats and everything like that, that when the times get bad, they're going to be able to turn to their government. They're going to be able to turn to their state, and it helps them out. But the trial and error, you'll find out that is you're not. It's not going to help you, and they're not going to be there to help you. And the worst things may happen before they even know you exist. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to somewhat find a way to um, empower yourself and somehow get through it without any additional assistance, probably exterior wise. Like I say, it's impossible to live life without a community, without people, but I think our society is so broken that you're gonna have to try to figure out at least your immediate household. You're gonna have to figure it out by yourself and stuff. You're not gonna really have a community to help you. Everybody's kind of fighting for the demise of each other because either at the you either 1%er, do I say 1% to maybe 1 to 5%er, or you're really in the stuff. You're either losing it all or you're gaining. And I think that's how our society is right now. So that's a hard thing to deal with and try to be, how can I say, try to be communicative with it, is because the data and the interaction and the history would show you that it is a like a very strong ego and total confidence and dominance to your agenda and what's going on in your life, and you got to be so self-centered like that in order to even just survive now. So I picked that up because I was always like, I don't even want to interact with people like that. And then making film and doing movies, you need a community. You need a team. You need more than yourself. It's impossible to do it by yourself, or at the least you're doing some damage to the project when you try to do too much by yourself. And for me, I had to transition out of doing it myself and making sure that I have the outcome, and I'm not really looking for the support of producers or executive producers in order to get me to the finish line and keep the purpose of it too. When you're doing independent films, one of the things about independent films is that you don't have that studio over you to say, watch something and say, hey, you guys, we just watched the movie. We need you to go to film. We need you to go refilm this. We need you to refilm this. We need you to take this out. We need you to add this to it. We need you to rewrite this. You know what I mean? Something like that, which sometimes that happens in the real industry where the script was good. The script got greenlit. It's shot, and then now when you visually see the interaction and everything, you kind of want it done a different way, or you kind of want the value of it because it's so big, and you're like, oh man, we spent $2 million or 10 million, 60 million, 20 million, 70 million, 200 million, and it was sound good in the script, but now that we look at it, we need to go this way. We think this would be better, and you get studio heads making those decisions, not the filmmaker. Studio heads will make those decisions, and they tell the director, hey, go do it. We're paying you money, and we'll pay you more to go do this stuff. These pickup shots and all this other stuff is within the contract and everything like that. So you get that. But in independent films, you kind of you have to fight for a good quality movie and making sure that you get the perspectives and everything and the totality of it within the guerrilla fight that you have as an independent film, where you're kind of doing movies from 50 to 200, possible $300,000, and that's your range. Which, if I'm doing a movie for $300,000, I'm gonna pull off some Titanic type of stuff because my ability is so high and what I can actually achieve is so high that with that kind of support, I can pretty much do a lot, So, and because I always say, you gotta I always tell people to do a better job of making films locally. You have to find something in the high industry that you can frame it to. You could kind of say, if you were to put those movies both together and look at them on the same screen, is your standards up to what the industry standard is in look and framing and casting and all that stuff like that? And people will get checked real quick when they see that, real quick, So that's what I do, I'm not trying to take you guys through my film maker world and stuff, but what I'm talking about here is to give you how I think, my mindset, my individual perspective, and let you understand this is how I'll be communicating politics, social dynamics, everything. I will be giving you a real, true analysis on it. Even if my point of view is opposition to yours, or what I favor is opposition to yours, it is the true opposition, and it's based on facts. It's based on how you comprehend the facts too, and how every human being should comprehend those facts. Words are what the definition of them are. Yes, we had about 10 to 20 years where we're kind of adding these third meanings to the words and stuff like that, and these really psychological trickery to words, but it is what it is. You know what words mean. You know what word you're framing, and you're communicating in whatever communication you're having. You know what you're saying, and it's pretty layman to everyone. The meaning of that word, meaning of that phrase, meaning of that sentence, meaning of that discussion. So individual perspective tells you, stop trying to have your way of perception. Have an individual perspective that has the true objective analysis, and that's what individual perspective is. So I thank you guys for listening to me for this nice 45 minutes, but I just wanted to give you guys the concept of individual perspective podcast. I hope you guys take a look at this, and I hope you click and like the video, and in the descriptions below you see our PayPal, our Cash App. We need to level up. We need to grow this, but I do need assistance from my viewers. But I understand we just starting off on YouTube. We are heavily in Rumble. You get what I'm saying? I just decided that I got to come over here and do a separate recordings, because I don't know what will get greenlit or flagged or anything in YouTube. So I was gonna bring a lot of the content from Rumble to YouTube, but I think I'll be doing a disservice to myself because I might be getting flagged on something that's not really kosher over here. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing here. I'm introducing myself, and I'm gonna do individual episodes. I'll still be doing stuff in Rumble, but I'm gonna be doing individual episodes here on YouTube. So please hit the like button, follow the channel. We need the engagement, and I need your engagement truly for this video, because I need to know if whoever's watching, are you a human being or are you a bot? You know what I mean? In addition to that, I want to know that when I go come and do the next episode, that people are kind of coming online and watching it and doing it. I'm gonna set probably a time where it would be consistent, and then you can always see my communication. So maybe, I get up I'm pretty fired up all the time. So maybe I'll do it at maybe 9, 10 in the morning, probably about 3 in the afternoon, 5 or something like that. And then maybe we do a nighttime one that's maybe probably about 8 o'clock or something like that. So that's what I want to have. That's what those three different times that I want to do the shows in. But we're going to try to just do as much as we possibly can to start interacting with each other, and you guys can try to support me and hit those likes and those follow buttons. And I know I got to do I did about maybe a couple 200 to 300 hours over Rumble. I know I got to do 200 or 300 hours here in the YouTube world in order to have the right amount of people viewing me and watching what we're doing before we do our analysis, because we're going to do an 18-hour. I'm fighting to do an 18-hour election day coverage. So I would like for me to have a decent audience that's pretty much curated to Individual Perspective Podcast. And I know it takes me to come on here, do content, keep pushing that content, be consistent and everything. But if you go look at what I'm doing in Rumble on a day-to-day basis, every single, I'm very consistent at it. So thanks for joining me on this Individual Perspective Podcast, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. And on the next episode, I'll make sure, it's actually going to be an episode where we talk about some politics and everything, catch you up on everything that's going on. I think Donald Trump is at Butler, Pennsylvania, giving a speech as we're talking, So we'll see how that is. Maybe we'll cover some inputs from that, see how that went. We really got to talk about North Carolina. It's really, really tragedy. So, I mean, it is horrific. And I collect a lot of videos just to kind of go through that. So maybe I'll do that too. And get a little bit into politics and stuff like that, and the mindset of how much the system is trying to screw us. And they've been screwing us for a good while now. But my name is Daris D. McKinney. This is Individual Perspective Podcast, when your truth is the objective truth. And that's our goal, to make sure that you vet yourself, you vet your family, you vet your friends, you vet your neighbors, you vet your community, you vet your society, you vet your heroes, celebrities, musicians, politicians, authors, whatever philosophical people. You vet everybody. Don't let their narrative get in your head without a proof of structure that on reflex you can utilize it and it will work. Okay, that's what individual perspective. So when the individual perspective is acquired, when you acquire the individual perspective, you will be all the philosophy, all the cheerleading, all the leadership that you ever need. You won't need to go to someone else for that kind of guidance. But first, create an individual perspective, and it takes care of everything. Everything falls into line for individual. And especially for men, I say we have the Alexander syndrome in us. It's in our DNA, it's in our blood. And we gotta summon it, or at least build a nice structure around us and a nice environment around us to project it and harness it and make it work and make it active. You know what I mean? So I could go forever on this individual perspective. My name is Individual Perspective Podcast. My name is Daris D. McKinney, and I'll see you on the next episode. Check you guys out.